Hello. So, two reasons for making this video, or rather uploading it. One, I've been wanting to do some sort of video challenge run thing of Payday 2 for a while because I really like the game. And two, I've been trying to make a video on explaining why I like the game for a long time. I've had like sort of a script for like half a year now, but it's not my style. So, first thing, what is this video? I figured that I don't want to do just typical solo death sentence stealth type of run. So I did solo death sentence, one down, no kills, and I took the rocket launcher and the minigun with me because that just seemed like the stealthy thing to do, and it appropriately completely ruined my concealment rating, making this a bit more challenging and interesting, I think.
Look out, God.
And as you can probably tell by the time, this is not exactly a speedrun. I don't think Payday 2 is all that speedrunnable. It's more of a challenge, and it was reasonable enough length, so I didn't feel too bad about it. Anyway, I am also going to take this opportunity to talk about why I think Payday is really underrated as a stealth game. And I can see why, because anyone can tell you that, yeah, the AI is really oblivious to everything going on around it, but that's not really the point. I would like to focus on the positives more, because there's a lot in Payday that many more stealth games could learn from, and I wish they did. It's a lot of small things, very mechanical things, and yeah. Actually, the first thing is already going on, which is the fact that everything is random. And you probably heard me complain about random stuff in Hitman, and the difference there is that in Hitman there's a tiny bit of randomness here and there, just enough that you can't really reliably to do precise moves, whereas in Payday the random elements are the core gameplay. You know everything is random, there's no pretense that you should be able to do things the same way every time. You know it's gonna play out differently. You know the camera placement and the guard placement and the objective placements are always gonna change when you restart. And Payday does that really well. Because while in most games, if you make a mistake and have to restart, what you're really gonna do is you're gonna repeat the same steps over and over until you get to the point where you've messed up, and then try something new at that point. Or you just end up doing like a ton of saves coming, which is not really fun either. Whereas in Payday, you know that every time you restart, it's gonna be different, so you don't have that boring repetition. Instead, you always have this new challenge ahead of you, and that keeps things interesting, even if you end up having to restart the mission several times. And I really like that. It also helps that there's no checkpoints or saves or any sort. It's always from the beginning, and even though sometimes you might be like 45 minutes into a mission and then you mess up right at the end, it really doesn't feel that bad, at least to me, because I know that, okay, I've made it this far once, I can do it again, I'm good enough at the game to pull it off, and it's not gonna be boring because the mission is gonna play out a bit differently each time, and I really enjoy that. The second thing I think is really good about this game is that you can actually recover after making a mistake. Yeah, like when coming to this upstairs section just a moment ago, I wasn't anticipating that a guard would be there, and I completely screwed up. But because there is no rating system at all, which is crazy for me to say. I like this game because it doesn't have a rating system. It allowed me to make that mistake, spend a bit of resources in form of pages and zip ties, and just keep going with it. And the resource management is another very big aspect of why this game works, because it turns KOs and kills into a resource. If you compare this to something like Hitman, where you can just knock out absolutely everybody, there's a lot more challenge to this. Because I never saw the appeal of doing the type of run in Hitman where you just knock out absolutely everybody and then you just laugh like, haha, can't be spotted when there's no one around to spot me. Like, you have just deleted stealth from the stealth game. What's the point in that? Whereas in Payday you only have 4 pagers and a limited number of body bags. So you can't just go and remove every god from play. You actually have to stay stealthy the entire way through. You have to manage those resources, and that's what makes actually being stealthy much more rewarding. And that is honestly something that most stealth games pretty much always have messed up. There's just not enough reason to be stealthy when you can just knock out or kill everyone. And Payday 2 absolutely nails that. Oh, there's a couple of rather small things in this that I really like. One of them being Sixth Sense, or overall the tagging mechanic, how you mark NPCs or enemies. Because I don't like how in many games you just have that Batman vision where you can see everybody through walls. It's just not very satisfying to use. You don't get well, any satisfaction for using it. But right there, because I stood still for a few seconds, I activated the skill called Sixth Sense, which allows me to, for a short while, mark enemies through walls who are nearby. And I think that's like an incredibly well thought out skill. Because, sure, it's not something like Thief where you can actually listen to where the enemies are, because the audio design is that good. But for something like this, which is often not even seen as a stealth game, that's a really, really good system, which actively rewards you for playing patiently and standing still, and seeing, like, taking in the environment. And it rewards you with information. It's such a simple but such a good skill. Absolutely love it. And overall, like the tagging system where you can mark enemies, but they only stay marked for a short while, and then you have to mark them again. So you actually still have to keep track of where the enemies are, even after initially marking them. Like, little things like that this game just does better than so many bigger stealth games. Oh, and the tension meter, right there, was spiking all the way through. That's another really cool thing about this game. That stealth... the tension meter is probably the best one I have ever seen. Mainly because... I think the key thing is that the top of the meter is obstructed by the exclamation mark, meaning that you don't ever see it fill up all the way. Which means that when it fills up, it very often feels like it maxes out, but you don't get spotted. And that causes some really, really exciting moments that often stealth games don't have. It's that very close call but getting away with it moment. Compare that to Hitman, where especially... well, I guess it's always been like that in the modern Hitman, including Absolution, where you don't really know where the top of the suspicion meter is, and at some point you just get spotted. And often it even works so that the meter is filling up, you go behind a corner, and you still get spotted. It doesn't feel fair. Whereas in Payday, because it usually feels like, oh my god, how did I not get spotted? The meter was maxed out. And you still get away with it. It feels rewarding when you barely get through. It's really, really well designed. And I think it also helps that there's apparently a decent amount of math behind how the meter fills up, like how close to the enemy you are they at an angle. I don't know exactly how it works, but it feels really well balanced, and I absolutely love it. Oh, what else?
Hello.
Oh,
This
this is a very, very tiny thing and a very, very stupid thing that I really also enjoy. And it's that only the head matters in the stealth. And that applies to both you and the enemies. Meaning that, or enemies, NPCs in general, the only part of your body or other NPCs' bodies that the NPCs can see is the head. Which sounds really stupid on paper, because it allows you to hide behind any tiny object as long as your head is covered. But in practice it actually works really well, because there's never any doubt about, oh, I wonder if he can see my foot if I'm standing over here. No, he can't. You always know if they can see you or not, because if you can't see them, they can't see you. And that also, much like the tension meter, really contributes to how it never feels like the game cheated and you shouldn't have gotten spotted. It's just a very simple mechanic that might seem stupid, but it actually works gameplay-wise surprisingly well.
Looks like it was hard for the ghettos to handle. We'll need to cut
What else points do I have written down over here? Oh, bank heists. Like, this is completely irrelevant to the mission at hand here, but I really like the concept of the bank heists, like Go Bank and whatever those random banks are in this game. I don't think they're well executed. Don't get me wrong on that. They're some of the worst missions in the game, especially Go Bank. But the idea is so good, and I want to see more of that in, I don't know, maybe in this game if they can figure out how to do it in the future, or Payday 3 or some other game. Point being that you are not actually avoiding detection, you are just taking over a building and making sure that the information doesn't get out of that building. It's like containing the situation. It's like a new type of stealth that I haven't seen in any other game. And it's a really cool concept. It's executed very poorly in this game, I think. But the idea alone, like, you get points for that, if you ask me. Plus, with those robberies, again, not really applicable to this mission. But this game has that nice little feeling of, I don't really need to steal all the money, but I kind of want to.
Come on!
And just taking everything that you can, it creates that really nice risk and reward system.
Now cut him loose.
It's like that, like, you don't have that in, well, most stealth games. Thief kinda does it, because you can just take everything if you feel like it. But I feel like this game does it even better because it doesn't have very high requirements for what you need to take. It's just that once you are at that point where you have opened the bank vault and you are ready to take the 8 bags that the game asks you to, after you take those 8 bags, it's like, there are 20 more in here. I already made it this far. I think I should just take all of them. That's the thing to do when you're robbing a bank. And each one of those bags could be the one that makes you make a mistake. But at the same time, you kind of want to do it anyway. You don't need them, but it's... What a nice system. It's a cool way to add difficulty dynamically. Because you always have a choice to leave, but you don't want to, and then if you fuck up, it's your own fault. Very cool. It's these little things I really appreciate about this game.
Our friend will know the way out, Rod.
Oh yeah, last thing on my list. Co-op. I think this is probably the best co-op stealth game out there. Hands down. Primarily because it's not about, oh, we have 2 different characters and 2 different roles. Or it's not like we have 2 identical characters who just happen to be on the same map doing the things. Instead it's, okay, we have 2 similar characters, but we can assign very different roles to each other whenever we feel like it. So in many heists you don't want one of the people to ever put the mask on and just remain as the spotter for as long as possible. and you can do some crazy chains with bags. Like, okay,
Good. Now still one
I need to
for the
deliver
police
these bags all the way across the map, and I can't do that
Hey, I'm
solo
not
because I would have to leave the bags in an exposed area for a while.
Fine.
But in co-op, it unlocks some new ways to approach the missions without harming the single-player experience.
Cordon
And
patrol.
man, it's so hard to put into words why the co-op in this game just works. But enough rambling, because this mission is about to end. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to do a good video on why Payday 2 is an amazing stealth game, but it didn't feel like me. It felt like me wanting to be some YouTube game lecturer dude, and that's not me.
Let's get
This
out
is
of
me,
here.
rambling and
Nice and quiet.
stuttering incoherently for 15 minutes. That's me. Hello. And that's that mission. Very nice.
And mostly south.
About 16 minutes rocket launcher stealth.
Friends, for sure.
But yeah, I really like Payday, in case you couldn't tell. Hope this made any sense to any of you. But yeah, thanks for watching if you did. Bye.